This is Buying Miami, Life, Love, and Real Estate, and I am your host, JoAnne Jones. I'm a second-generation Miamian, and I am obsessed with real estate, and also living your best life here in the best city, Miami. Okay, we're back for another episode. I think it's episode 10 now.
I like that.
I know, like, who are we looking at? I'm always looking at the producer like she's going to give me answers or something. Anyways, Buying Miami, Life, Love, and Real Estate. I'm JoAnne Jones, your host, and I'm very, very excited to have Anna Sherrill from Sotheby's here with me today. And why do I have her? Well, today's episode, we're going to talk about new construction and buying new construction. There's a lot of construction going on in Miami. We have a lot of people from other areas coming here.
Absolutely.
And they're buying new, and it's a different animal. Anna and I were just talking about it before the show. Like, we both have been in residential real estate for like decades. Yeah, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it's one thing about buying a condo or a house from an individual seller, but it's a whole other animal of buying a new construction from a developer.
Exactly.
So Anna is an expert at this, and I've known Anna for a very long time. We used to work together at Sotheby's on Ocean Drive.
That's right.
With
Eloy's
Eloy.
office.
Yes, that was a fun office.
That was a fun office.
Back in like 2011, 2012. So, yeah, and we're both, still in the game, which is a lot to be said because there's a whole, 20% of the realtors do 80% of the work.
I think about 10%, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Well, it's a tough business.
It is.
You gotta have thick skin to stay in this game.
Agreed.
So, okay, Anna's working on one of the bestest, most exclusive new constructions, but we're going to save that kind of towards the end because I want to talk to our buyers, our listeners, what are some of the main differences that they need to kind of brace themselves or expect when they're sitting down and they're going to walk in and, purchase a new construction. I'm sure you probably have an elevator speech or something that you kind of brief them on the differences. So please, the floor is yours. Tell us.
Thank you. So, new construction is just a very different animal. The contracts, first of all, are written by the attorneys that work for the developers. So, and that's registered with the state. The rules are that when you purchase pre-construction, you have a 15-day rescission period. So instead of having an inspection period and any other contingencies that are due diligence, you have 15 days to review everything and cancel for any reason without penalty. They're all cash. So those contracts are never contingent upon financing. You can get financing, of course, at the end, but they're all cash. There's a capital contribution to the association so that, they can get funded and get started and have money to run the building. And then there's also a 1.7 to 2% developer fee, and that covers all of the costs for closing, recording stamp, doc stamps, recording fees, title insurance, et cetera. And that's something that all developers have in their contract. So those are just a few of the important things maybe in a contract. Mm-hmm. But I think the exciting things are you get something brand new, right? You get something that's no one's ever lived in before, something you can maybe pick the finishes on and help, design it yourself a little bit more. And today we know how sophisticated and how amazing, Miami real estate's become. So the best architects are here, the best designers, interior designers, and we're just taking it to another level. Code also changes yearly, so you get the best code, you get the best technology, or whatever is the latest technology within that building. So it's an exciting time to buy here as well, yeah. Yeah,
I think so. And usually it takes about 18 months to 2 years, sometimes 3 years to go from, shovel ready or from the beginning to it being delivered, would you say?
So it depends, but I would agree with you. Yeah, some buildings, I would say the average is probably 2.5 to 3 years, just because, it depends on the building and the size and all of that, and of course the level of finishes that they do. Some developers deliver buildings that with just standard finishes and no floors. They call it decorator ready, and others are finishing them now. Today, everybody wants something finished, just when we sell general real estate.
Right.
They want something they don't really have to do too much to, right?
Yeah.
So
I think though over the years, in the last 10 years, where maybe 5, 8, 10 years ago, it was a trend to deliver them decorator ready, where you had to go in and put the floors and the window treatments and the closets, and it really affected your your enjoyment of the unit, because for the first year you had construction crews coming in and out of the elevators, and I saw that a lot at 1010 Brickell. I used to show a lot at 1010 Brickell, and
Right.
those first years, it was just like impossible to get
Well,
in
and
and out of that
contractors are in the
building. Yeah.
building a lot, and there's construction going on, like you said, and materials being down the building. So it's really nice when it's finished.
Right.
And yeah, in the last 10 years, developers have really gone with that trend and finishing things for buyers and offering full packages to even finish like furniture sometimes, so which I think is awesome. So, and there's incredible companies out there doing that as well. So I think
yeah.
people want to move in right away.
Yeah.
Just like me, I want
Yeah,
instant gratification.
Waited, they've waited for a year, 2 years, 3 years for the property,
Exactly.
and now they're like ready to enjoy it.
Right.
So okay, let's go back to capital contribution, because we love to throw around words and we know what they mean, but I don't know that listeners really understand what that means. So can you talk a little bit more about like what is capital contribution? How much do you usually have to put, and what is it for? Let's dig into that a little bit.
Sure. That's it's 2 months of your maintenance. So whatever your monthly maintenance is in the budget, per residence, it's usually based on your interior square footage. And now in Florida, you have to have reserves. So every building has reserves, and that can change, depending on the building. But in ours, so you would have 2 months contribution in any building you purchase in. And again, that's used to kind of have income so that you can have your staff going and run things in the building. It's a brand new building, so there's really, nothing else to, but it's just to have the building running and have it healthy. So
yeah, of course. So besides your sale price, you're going to have your developer contribution, or your developer fee, which basically covers your closing fees.
Correct.
Right? So you pay for your closing.
Yep.
Then you're going to have the capital contribution and any prorations, right? So
Any prorations.
Let's talk about prorations. I know what prorations are. You know what prorations are, but let's explain to our listeners what that means, the prorations.
So really, real estate taxes. I mean, there's really nothing else at this point because it's a brand new construction, right? So nothing else is being held. There's no maintenance being paid or anything like that. But the proration would be for the taxes. And the first year, the taxes are a lot less because the county assessor hasn't been able to assess the property.
Right.
So those are based on really kind of land value and slightly, and some improvements. And those prorations are obviously taken from the developer and credited to the buyer at closing, whatever that would be. So depending when they close that year, because ours are always paid in arrears. So
Right. Now, on these contracts, are they does the buyer automatically have the right to assign the contract, or is that a term that they have to make sure is in?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's an excellent question. So most developers allow, and most contracts allow it to be assigned or transferred to a trust or a corporation owned by that owner. They'd have to be part owners or at least 50%. So it could go to a trust for their family, whatever. If they want to assign it to another buyer, that's never allowed. So they don't allow assignments during that time. So really, once you go to contract with a buyer or developer as a buyer, you're kind of with them, throughout the whole process until the end. Now you can simultaneous close at the end. Some developers sell out and allow resales, but then they have their in-house kind of running it so that they can, control everything. It's a great way to keep values up because if somebody's maybe has something happen or, needs the money differently than other people in the building, it makes sure that everybody's kind of selling at the same price or more.
Right.
So it actually helps the values.
Because
I think it protects it, yeah.
I just wonder, you buy something, you put a contract down, and you got to wait 3 years, and so much could happen in those 3 years. So what happens if, the day comes and you're supposed to close and for whatever reason, and I'm sure you've been in this business for so long, so you've heard situations, people die, they get divorced, they lost all their money, something happens. So what are some of the contingencies or ways, what happens when somebody can't close?
So usually in those positions, the developer will help them negotiate at the end. It depends what they've negotiated in their contract, but there is a damages and there is a default. Sometimes it's only, it's over the 10% that's in escrow, and today we know our deposits are pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Now our contracts are 30 to 50%, depending on the building. So the buyer can be liable for anything over that. And another thing that's different is developers can use anything over 10% that's held in escrow to build the building. So only for hard costs. They can't use it to pay, commissions or use them for marketing or anything else, but they can use it to build the building. So that's really helped developers kind of, build buildings today, which is, I think, incredible. Yeah.
So the big reveal. Anna is what is your title there?
I'm VP of Sales.
VP of Sales. I knew it was something fancy of the St. Regis. And all of us agents are super excited about the St. Regis. First of all, Anna is always like on the best projects. You sold 1000 Museum.
The Surf Club Four Seasons.
The Surf Club Four Seasons. I mean, you always get the best ones. I love 1000 Museum. That's such a beautiful building. And then now you're doing the St. Regis.
Yeah.
And I heard recently that they say that these hotel branded residents are like the Ozempic for buyers because they already have a point of reference for the developer or for the project.
Right.
And so when you put a name like St. Regis, that really carries a lot of weight. They already have an idea of the quality of the building, of the finishes, of the services, and if they trust it, do you find that has the sales been a little bit easier working with a branded hotel chain as opposed to in the past?
So I think that's a really good point. And yes, I mean, it's a lot easier to sell something that has the brand and knows, people know St. Regis, they know their history, they know, what they've done, and they have confidence in it. So anyone that loves St. Regis knows, and we've gotten a lot of buyers from that, right?
Yeah.
People, they're followers, right? They'll stay at all the St. Regises. Once they buy with us, the beauty of St. Regis, we did a stay at the St. Regis, New York, and they gave us the experience of what some of the owners go through and the detail that they have. Like in the morning, if they want to go for a run on their, when their kids are going to school for the first day, on their anniversary. I mean, they're there for them for anything they need, and they know their likes and their dislikes. So if they're traveling to another St. Regis, they send that maybe they like, a harder, firmer pillow or a firmer mattress or, this at this time. I don't know, their paper brought to them daily, whatever it is. Those little things are carried through all the St. Regis and really all of the Marriott properties throughout. So the service level stays there. But yeah, selling a property that has the St. Regis brand definitely elevates it for us and makes it easier for us to sell. But we also have Robert A.M. Stern, so we have one of the best architects in the world, which is amazing. And we have David Rockwell as our interiors. And then we're in Miami, in Brickell, on South Brickell Avenue, on this beautiful tree-lined street, waterfront, which is very rare, as you know, to get in Brickell at these days, with an incredible, lot. So it's a great mix. It's only 154 residences, and it rises 50 stories. So it's really special.
Wow. Okay, I have so many questions.
Okay, go.
I get so excited.
I love it.
All right. Okay. How big is the lot? Like, how big is the piece of land?
It's a little over 3 acres.
Okay, that's a nice, and then 50 floors for
154 residences
154.
and 50,000 square feet of amenities.
What?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of building for 154 residences. So these residences
it's only 4 per floor. They're large.
Okay. Oh, yeah. What's the minimum? What
2,600 square feet is our smallest, which is not small.
And that's a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom?
2-bedroom den, 3 baths. It could be made into a 3-bed, 3.5 baths, actually. And then 3,000 square feet is our 3, and then we have 2 direct 4-bedrooms that are about 3,700 square feet. And then penthouses and combos and duplexes and beautiful, beautiful stuff.
I know. You really get, like, a uniqueness, which is... In a building, there's a lot of times not a lot of uniqueness from the get-go. I mean, as a building seasons and it's been around for 8-10 years, people start to renovate and they knock down walls and they change everything. But from the get-go, you guys have, how many different floor plans do you have?
So our typicals are only 4. And, 2 of them are almost exactly the same. They only
they're just
differ. They're flipped. They're reverse of each other. So we do have a couple, atypicals. We have a duplex that's got 22-foot ceiling heights. And it's on the 19th and 20th floor. And we have penthouses that have, rooftop decks with private pools and, summer kitchens and 3 levels and private elevators. So it's very, very special. We have a Michelin star chef that's programming everything on property Fabio Trabucchi. So we have some really special things, and everything's private to the building. We have a 31st floor library bar that looks directly at the bay. We have a cognac room. It's fun to see this, and then of course when it comes to fruition, we get to actually deliver this property. It'll be really special. So
yeah. So tell us more. Like, first of all, okay, so let's start with the location, because if you didn't hear, like, we know where everything is here. So Brickell is in the southeastern part of Miami.
Correct.
And it's nestled between Coconut Grove and downtown Miami. It's on the water. It's actually one of the first areas of Miami that got developed back in the day around the turn of the century. So it's definitely a very developed area. Well,
it's like our financial district, really.
Yeah.
That's, I think, where all the, banks are, the most of our financial institutions.
For
Lots
sure.
of new ones are coming. We've got a lot moving in, so that's really important. But yeah, we've seen it grow. I mean, imagine before, when I first moved here in 99, I lived on Brickell Key, and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing. There was like a few buildings. And there was no restaurants. Now you have Brickell City Center. You have Mary Brickell Village. You've got incredible restaurants. So it's nice to see it. But our building is a little bit tucked away from that. It's on South Brickell Avenue. So kind of on your way to Key Biscayne, kind of where the Key Biscayne Bridge is. It's a tree-lined canopied street with a larger kind of, pedestrian-friendly walkway. It's all waterfront. And on the west side of the street, you can only go up like 40 feet. So, and beyond that are homes. So to the west, all of our views are, incredibly open. And it just, it's less congested. It's a little bit more residential. It's more quiet, more private. And the views, I mean, as we know, are incredible. So
Yeah.
I always think of Miami Vice. Do you remember when they would drive by that?
Yeah. The view has changed quite a bit, but yeah,
It's totally
the views are
changed.
beautiful because you could see to the south, you could see Key Biscayne.
That's right.
And then to the
And
north,
east, yeah.
you could see South Beach and like all
The
up
port
Miami.
and all of that, yeah.
Everything. Yeah, you get a pretty magical view because as opposed to being on the beach, when you just have a direct ocean view, that's all you could see. But
Right. But at night, you get lights and action and all the boats. And
on the
it's fun.
holidays, you could see all the fireworks and everything.
Yeah. And you're close to Coconut Grove. You can still get
yeah.
like on 95 and get to the Design District or the beach or...
No, it's a great location. You're pretty much close to everything, and you're not. Brickell can get very congested. I mean, as you know,
there's
it's
certain
like,
areas that I don't enjoy driving through all day.
No.
If I worked there, I understand living there, in certain areas, but other
Yeah,
times it would be difficult for me to go home daily.
No. And if you live there and you work there, usually, you walk or you take a little scooter.
It's a great walk. It's a great walk. Yeah,
it's a great area to walk.
It's a very walkable neighborhood, which is really nice, for people that are there.
But you're in the
Absolutely.
best part of Brickell,
That's
which
what I
is
think.
like tucked away on the south side, quiet, like almost like if you didn't know that it was there, you wouldn't know.
That's right. Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk.
Because it's all residential. There's no hotels. There's nothing commercial there. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk more about St. Regis.
Please.
When is it going to be delivered?
The first quarter of 2027.
Okay, all right. So
We're
it's going to
3
be
years
a
out.
minute. Okay, it's going to be a minute. Now, so we're in 2023, so we're 4 years out. Does the developer raise the prices from 23 to 24 to 25, 26, 27? Like if you lock it in now today in 2023, you're going to get to appreciate the appreciation of the property as opposed to in 27. It's going to be, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know how much it's going to go up, but it's going to go up, right? Wouldn't you say?
Well, we've always seen that. Yeah, that's been the history of new construction. And so, as we go, as we sell more than really just time. It's as we sell, as things go and supply goes down, they raise prices. So it's the smart to come in early and to have that investment early. You also get to pick the best residences, right? Those are the ones that are available. So those go, and then you have nothing left at the end. So, or you don't have the same pick, you can't really get. So
it's like the buffet after everyone's gone through it. I'm always the first person at the buffet. I'm funny that way. How much have you guys sold now? Like, how are sales going?
So we're about 60%. We're converting to contracts now. So sometimes in a development, this is another thing to understand, is you would have reservations. We started with reservations. So it's really just an option to purchase something at that price and kind of your residence. So we had a reservation process, and now we're converting to contracts. So we're about 60%. We just opened our sales gallery, which you have to come see. It's
Where is it?
beautiful.
Is it on site?
It's on site.
Okay.
So there was an old building there, and then next to it was like an amenity building. So they gutted that and redid it, and they did a beautiful job. So we have a kitchen, a living area, like the great room, just to get a feel for it. You know, the glass that they're going to use. Kitchen, like the bathroom for the primary bedroom and a primary bedroom. So it's stunning. You have to come see it for sure.
So when you go to the sales gallery, you can already see, you know, the finishes and like, okay, this is what the kitchen's going to look like. This is what the bathroom's going to look like.
Yeah, even the entrance when you come through, like our receptionist, she's sitting at a desk that was designed by David Rockwell. All the furnishings were picked by David Rockwell. Rockwell Group is doing all of our, you know, interiors. So you get a feel for it right when you walk through the door. You get it from the beginning. You walk in, everything in our gallery, you know, before you walk into the thing or conference room, everything's been designed by them. So you get a feel for what the building's going to be like and the environment of that just from the beginning, which is nice. I'm just thinking about the pools. We have 3 pools.
Oh.
We have 2 outdoor pools, one that faces east and is, you know, beautiful for sunrise, cabanas, of course, food and beverage everywhere. We have a west-facing pool that has sunsets. You know, you'll have beautiful sunsets there. We have pickleball, which has become so...
People are crazy for the pickleball.
Paddle and pickleball, I'm telling you. It's like the most popular thing. So we have a pickleball court, which is really cool. We have 2 private villas, which are really cool, so about 7,500 square feet. You'd pull into the garage, and they're separate from the building, but we sit on a podium that's about 5 stories tall, and that houses most of our amenities, except the 31st floor, you know, our restaurant, and the parking. So it's... On that sits these incredible villas with private pools. You drive into their private garage, and you have a private elevator that takes you through the, like, 3 stories.
So they're like townhouses. Kind of.
It's like homes. They're 7,500 square feet. Yeah, they're big.
Wow, they're huge.
And they're not narrow. Like, you know, sometimes a townhome can be a little bit more narrow. They're homes. They're significantly wide and larger than kind of anything else. But it's somebody that doesn't want to be in a home anymore, but's always lived in a home and enjoys that and wants all the services.
Right.
It's an incredible option for them.
And how much have you sold those yet?
We haven't actually really even gotten the final floor plans for those. They're kind of finalizing those. Penthouses in those 2 villas are kind of being finalized now. But we have reserved a couple penthouses. So that's
then have they, what is the pricing? Have they decided on the pricing for the villas?
I think they'll be in the mid to high 20 million range, you know, 25 to 30 probably. But I'll know more soon. I'll be able to share with you. Yeah.
And then, okay, so also what I'm seeing a trend lately is that developers are getting back to building more spacious units. Like,
huge.
Isn't it, like back in the day, like when Ugo Colombo was building Santa Maria, he built like big units, right?
Yeah.
But that was 20 years ago. And then we went to little units, like a 1-bedroom for 700 square feet or even smaller.
Right.
And then now you have these developers, and it's all, I think, based on demand, right? So you have people, and a lot of, listen, if you're
87 Park, the Surf Club Four Seasons, now Paragon, Rivage, you know, all these buildings, they're much larger residences.
Right.
The Rally, huge. Those are really big. The Shore Club. So, yeah, I don't think I think there's always going to be demand for some smaller units, but there'll be other buildings that will have that. The high-end luxury buildings all have these very large residences, so...
Well, usually if you're someone, first of all, if you're buying this, usually it's a second home.
Yeah.
Second or third home. And usually you got an entourage. Like, even if it's just a couple, you have people that work, maybe it's an assistant, or you have a housekeeper, or you just need more room, or you have kids.
And we have suites now as well in the building that you can buy. It's like for a nanny or let's say your parents are coming and you would like something. So they have 2 suites that'll be rented out, like hotel suites.
Oh.
And just for the owners and their guests. And then there'll be suites that'll be sold that are just like large studios that will have like a little kitchenette and a bathroom and their own thing. So those are really cool. People can use for an office. They can use for their nanny, their captain of their boat, whatever their need may be.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool? I love that. I love that idea.
That's a really cool idea. So tell me some of the other things that you really love about St. Regis that sets St. Regis apart. As far like the suites is one thing. I know of another building. There's a few other buildings that I know of that has those suites.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other things that when you saw, you're like, wow, that's really cool about the St. Regis? I wish my nose itched more.
So, something that follows the traditions is really neat. So we have on the 31st floor the library bar. We have the cognac room, which is a typical, thing with them. And they put next to that, adjacent to that, a billiards room with like a, poker table and just some really sexy stuff. We have the drawing room, which is known as the tea room, where you have afternoon tea. And the mural on the ceiling in that room will have the same mural you see in all St. Regis's around the world. So they carry through these traditions throughout their buildings. The spa, which is just incredibly finished, has a 75-foot indoor lap pool.
Wow.
The cold plunge that we were talking about earlier, you have a cold plunge, you have a steam and a sauna. Now they have dog grooming within the building so that people, have their dog grooming. It's a butler service, so I think it stands differently than any other service you have. Like their service is known as very personalized and, butler service. So that's how I think we differ more than anything else.
So tell me more about the butler service. Let's talk about that. I don't know that people necessarily are familiar with that term and know what it means.
Yeah. A butler would be somebody who kind of does anything and everything for you, from just personal errands, you know what I mean, to picking up your dry cleaning, doing, taking your dog. We did an experience in New York, and we saw someone went for a run with one of the owners in the morning because they wanted to go for a run and didn't want to go by themselves. Someone needed a gift and said, "Can you go pick this up?" It's just a very personalized service, and I think there's probably a lot more staff with St. Regis than other buildings.
So the butler service, is that something that is included with their maintenance to an extent? I mean, obviously you have to, how do you manage that? Because, there's always that one guy.
Right. So some services are included, and some services come at a cost, right?
Right.
But yes, most of the services are included in, your maintenance fee, your monthly maintenance fee.
Right.
And then anything else that's really not budgeted, or someone that goes above that and wants more stuff, it's available. It's just just at price.
For a cost, of course.
Yeah. It's like if you go to the spa, you can use everything, but if you want a massage, you pay for it, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But it's there. You have it all right there in your own building. So.
And then, and then there's going to be a marina as well. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So our marina hasn't been 100% approved yet. We're confident it will get approved. But, yeah, we'll have a private marina right in front of the building, probably about 10 to 12 slips. And at the end, they'll have a drop-off and pick-up for all owners. So it'll take up to a 100-foot yacht. So small boats, large boats, if they charter a boat for the day.
Right.
And you have the restaurant there. You could have them cater for your boat day or, for your beach day. We have a beach service as well. We're going to have beach service at the W, like right between the W and the Sotheby, on the beach, on the sand. And then you'll have valet that you can do at the W, and you can use, their gym and freshen up if you want to have dinner there or somewhere close by. So it's kind of everything you can imagine is
they
there.
Think of everything.
They think of it all, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the beach service. So this, for our listeners, because I have to imagine, there could be somebody in the Northeast, and they're like, well, how is there beach service when it's on Brickell? There's no beach on Brickell. Blah, blah. So let's explain it.
There's two ways, yeah. So there's two ways to get to the beach as well. They can drive their own car. They can take the house car, right? So we'll have a house car that will take them. And the beach, in Miami Beach, there's permits. We know the Boucher brothers.
Yeah.
There's a group that has really had the permits on the beach forever, and they have chairs and umbrellas. And so buildings, when they're in downtown, Zaha's building did this, the 1000 Museum, they get an agreement with them, and they have their own branded chairs and umbrellas and their own staff there, and they agree with one of the hotels, like we did with the W, to get food and beverage. So it's like having your own beach club and being a part of a private club, as well. But it comes from your building, so all of that's included kind of as well in your maintenance fee. It's one of the extra services that's included.
Right.
So it's like living in a resort.
Yeah.
As we know, living here is like living in a resort.
It really is, but it's just so funny because People like don't realize. Remember when I moved to South Carolina?
Yes.
Okay.
How long was that? Like a year or so?
That was from 2012 to 2016.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a good time. That was a long time.
It was
yeah.
4 years. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a learning experience. We'll just leave it at that.
That's what life is, man.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it? So when I went to South Carolina and we went to the beach for the first time, I'm like, well, where's the guy? Where's the guy with the chairs? He's like, what do you mean? My husband was like, what do you mean? And I go, like, where is the guy with the beach chairs and the umbrella? And he's like, what are you talking about?
Can I get a menu?
I go, yeah.
Can I order some food?
He goes, I go, he goes, what do you mean? I go, like, let's go to a beach where they have beach service. He goes, well, what is beach service? And I'm like, oh, no, this is like, I knew that I was in trouble,
Yeah.
I'm like, beach, I go, so like a guy that comes there and you give him like $20 or whatever, and he gives you 2 chairs and an umbrella. And he goes, no, baby girl.
You got to take your own chairs?
We got to take our own chairs. I go, you mean like we got to carry them? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Shock, yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
No, we're spoiled. We're spoiled.
We're spoiled.
So yeah, you live at the St. Regis. If you want to go to the beach, you either take your car or you take the house car.
That's right.
They drop you off at the W. You have your little section on the beach where they're going to put your chair and your umbrella, and if you want to get drinks or you want to order a hamburger or whatever, all that's through the W.
That's right.
And then when you're done, if you want to take a quick little shower and freshen up, you go to the spa at the W.
Right.
You freshen up, and then you go to dinner or you go somewhere else or you go
you
home.
walk around, you go shopping, whatever you want to do. Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a whole lifestyle.
That's right.
And it's beautiful because it seems like this one thing with the St. Regis is they think of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the moment that you get there, and it's very experience oriented and it's very specialized.
That's right.
So I think that's why it's so easy for people to make a decision. They make a faster decision because they understand what they're going to get.
Who wouldn't love that?
Right.
I mean, there's nothing really that isn't amazing about it. So I would love it as well. I understand. I understand why they would like it.
Yeah. I understand.
It works for me too.
Completely. Yeah, I would like that as well. Sign me up, please.
Totally.
So where the units at the St. Regis, I mean, what's the price range? Where are they starting at? They're between this and that.
Our smallest residence, which I said is 2,600 square feet, starts at about 3.7. Our next one, which is about 3,000 square feet, starts at about 4.8. And our larger 4 bedrooms start in the high 6 million range. So penthouses start 25 to 50. You're saying
the
words
units,
now you say prices like that, and it's just everybody's normal used to it.
I mean, we're used. I'm used to it. But we live in a different world in the sense that it's not necessarily like we're just used to Miami prices.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
is.
Yeah.
So what is that? More or less, I'm not going to do the calculation, but more or less, what are we talking price per square foot?
Right now, we're averaged at about $2,100 a foot under contract. So, I mean, it varies, obviously, depending on the floor and the residents and all of that. So it just depends on where we're at. It's excluding, of course, penthouses, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then
that's for beautifully finished residents. Yeah, designed and gorgeous.
I mean, look.
10.5-foot ceiling heights, floor-to-ceiling glass, expansive, outdoor terraces.
I mean, that's what
all
they
the
are.
amenities and services, yeah.
That's what they are. And I'm always like, I remember when things got over 1,000, I'm like, oh my God, 1,000 a square foot. That's so much, And
then the beach is averaging.
It's been like that for a while. Then it got to 1,300, and then it's 1,400, and it's like it keeps on
New
climbing.
construction on the beach is averaging probably about 4,000 a foot.
Wow.
Yeah. The new buildings.
The brand new ones,
the new ones. And then the Surf Club Four Seasons is like 4,000 to 6,000 a foot.
Yeah.
There's buildings that are holding those numbers as well. Continuum is probably just below that, So yeah, there's
it's happening.
It's happening, yeah.
And people are paying it. Yeah. And now
for the right residents, they are, of course.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
of
it
course.
Makes sense.
Now, we kind of glossed over it, but let's talk more about like how are these units being finished, because we went from a few years ago like decorator ready, which basically means you got to finish it yourself, which is just a pain in the ass.
Right.
And then now, how how are these being finished, and then how do they tell us more about the materials, and how do they select, the floors and the cabinetries and the coloring, and what is included, and then what kind of is at that point you would need to get an interior designer to finish it. So what exactly does it mean when it's like, to what extent are things getting finished nowadays?
So today, it depends on the builder, but again, this is more the trend, what we're doing. It's a finished residence where you walk in, the flooring is finished, the kitchens and baths are always finished,
Right.
and there's usually options for countertops, there's usually options for cabinetry to change the color of that. We are offering that. A lot of times they're wired now, which I think is so smart. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to break into walls and do all of that. So the recessed area has all this beautiful lighting. And then in the area where you would put maybe a chandelier or different types of lighting, they have junction boxes so that you're not, they have a J box there where you can just connect it to the light that you want. Around the perimeter of all the glass, they have this, 10 volts so that you can connect that to the smart system as well. And the bathrooms are finished incredibly well. So travertine is kind of everywhere. It's the backsplash, the countertops, the bathrooms, the flooring in the bathrooms and kitchens. Everybody's doing high-end appliances today, which is always,
Right.
I think, very important as well. We see wine fridges becoming really popular.
Yeah.
So wine fridges are in all of the residences. And then they're doing, the closets are not finished. I think a closet can be finished, but sometimes when we see that they do finish it, a lot of people rip it out because they want to do their things.
Yeah.
So they will have upgrade options for people, or they can do it themselves. But really, when you walk in, you would do your window treatments,
Right.
your furniture, of course.
Yeah.
Your lighting, where the junction boxes would be for lighting, and closets. So it's
no big
a
deal.
finished residence. There's not construction to do, but
Right.
there's still, and that could be decided before you move in, right? All
Right,
those
you
things
have
could be
options.
ordered. Yeah.
Like you have, do you have like a preferred closet designer and a preferred, window
So they'll
treatment
have
person?
the same company that's doing our kitchens. They'll have them have a couple options for us. They did the model closet, which when you come see it, you'll love it. It's stunning.
Yeah.
So they have that, but yeah, they'll have different options of different things. And when it gets closer is when we decide.
Right.
There's different flooring options. They'll offer, upgrades and upgrades of woods and different things as well to do. But yeah, there'll always be several options so that people can look at the different color palettes and really make it theirs, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different combinations, but it's just so much easier because you can go. I'm a very visual person, and I'm not really so good at like decorating. I'm more like,
Yeah.
please just do it. If I like your style, just do my house.
When you walk in to see the sales gallery, you'll just be like, I'll take it this way. Because it's very well done. They really, the way that they selected the finishes, I wouldn't change a thing. But yeah, everyone has their options and can do what they want, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's just, once everyone closes, you have a less period of a lot of construction going on in the building, so you can
really
get
don't have
to
construction.
enjoying your residence.
Right.
you know?
Flooring now is all the way out to the terraces, so your flooring is finished all the way out. So it's a seamless kind of indoor-outdoor experience with those glass doors that all open, which is gorgeous. And then, there's not construction really going on. There's furniture being moved in, but that's normal. That happens, right? And you kind of have everybody will go through that a little bit. But yeah, no, it's fun to have it. I think it's.
Yeah, I have more questions. Like
going.
I'm bubbling.
Okay,
I'm
go,
like,
go.
Okay. Tell me about the deposit structure. So tell me about that. Like, when do you pay what?
So contracts are typically 20%. So 20% deposit of the purchase price goes into escrow when you sign your contract. Again, you have that 15-day rescission period. So that's when they can review those condo docs and everything that was put into the state, was registered with the state. And then from there, it's usually on milestones. So the next deposit is usually on groundbreaking when they start.
And how much is that?
Start construction, 10%. And then the next 10% is usually at top off. And that's basically it. 40% is kind of the new norm. When they had 50%, sometimes they would have it at someone's floor and then at top off, or would have it, when they were halfway through the building and then, top off. But today, I think 40% is kind of it, and that's where that 40% goes. And then the balance would be at closing. So that doesn't happen until we have, certificate of occupancy. So, TCO. So we,
Right. Yeah, that's it. And then, do you guys, as time, like in 2027, when it gets delivered,
Yeah.
if somebody does want to finance, does the developer, is it normal for the developer to kind of make a relationship with a couple lenders that could offer financing if they wanted it, and
As
you
you
can
can
have a preferred lender?
Of course. As you can imagine, a lot of lenders want to do that. So
Right.
they'll reach out to us and ask us and kind of be prepared so that they'll be ready for it. But a lot of buyers as well have their own banks and have their own people, so we'll help them with that process at the end and kind of help them get through that. Yeah, but there's always people that are kind of our preferred or at least have the information and are ready to approve and have the building approved. So that helps the process kind of quicker as well. Yeah.
And then when they put their money in escrow, do they have the option to put it with their own attorney, or do they have to put it with the developer's escrow agent?
So no, that's with the state. The state decides who does that, and we file and register. So Chicago Title is one of the largest. It's one of the biggest ones. Just like most people, a lot of people use Greenberg Trarg as their, to write their condo docs. There's kind of a few escrow agents that do this, and you have to use one of them. And then the the attorneys, it's followed by really good regulations, right? That obviously protect the buyer and kind of keep the.
We have very strict escrow laws here,
As they
so
should,
people
yeah.
don't really mess with escrow. It's very rare that you hear something happening with escrow,
That's
like you
right.
get in big trouble. Is the developer accepting cryptocurrency as a form of payment?
They're not. There has been developers that I've seen do that. I've never worked with one that's willing to do that.
Right.
I did work with someone who, like as we were closing, they had the cash coming in and they exchanged it. But
Right.
They did everything. We didn't have to do anything. So as long as it's cash, it's
At the
fine.
end of the day, they want cash.
Yeah.
I did a podcast a few weeks ago about how to buy real estate with cryptocurrency.
Ooh.
And it's a lot easier than people think
Right.
nowadays, because you can go through a company called BitPay, and they basically, there's a little doing. If somebody's interested, I would suggest that they refer to that
cool.
that podcast. But they're able to. Basically, they convert it, at time of closing, they'll convert the cryptocurrency to cash.
And what if it's not the same amount?
Well, what they do is they put
guarantee it?
They put it into within, I think, a period, right?
Right.
Within 15 days or whatever, they convert it to a stable coin.
Oh, okay.
Right? And they
Right.
guarantee it.
So then it's backed by like the U.S. dollar or
Right.
something, or it's at least tied to it. Okay.
Yeah, they have to put it into a stable coin, so to kind of protect against the fluctuation of the currency.
Yeah.
So they do that, and then they're able to convert it at time of closing. So somebody could actually pay with cryptocurrency. And the only thing is that, my God, my face is so itchy. I just want to just rip my face off my body. But anyways, at the
Yikes,
so
I'm so sorry.
I don't know why, but what happens is at the time of they convert it, and it's pretty simple at this point.
I find it interesting. I'm not a pro at it in any way, and I don't want to pretend like I'm an expert. But I did listen to a couple buyers and talk to people about it. And as we received offers, I would listen, and I find it incredibly, interesting. And I had a couple clients that did it, but they purchased with, American dollars, so I didn't have to deal with that. But
What I was going to say is that the caveat is that the company that does the conversion, they take like a 2%. Yeah, 2%. And it's not that big of a deal, but when you're buying, let's say, a $6 million property,
that's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, but I guess if you're paying in cryptocurrency and that's what you want to do, then
you need it.
It is what it is. It's the price of doing business in cryptocurrency.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, okay. And then besides St. Regis, do you have, what are some of the other new developments that you see? I'm always interested in what you think about new development, because you're on the front line of new development.
Yeah.
So are there any other projects right now that you're impressed with, or can you not really say because you're aligned with the St. Regis?
No, I think the other products that I think are amazing, I also represent a beautiful development in Surfside called Surf Row, designed by my good friend Renee Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah,
It's only 8 townhomes, and that's a really special project, I'm I've been able to work with Lanier, who they're great designers and they're amazing developers as well. So it's been a great group, and that's just a great. I love Surfside. I mean, I think it's just a great community. So that's a very different. There's no competition with the St. Regis in Miami. Somebody that wants to buy there and wants views and amenities and all of that is not buying a private townhome across the street from the beach in Surfside. But I also think, I do think a lot of our new developments are beautiful. I will always have something in my heart for the Surf Club Four Seasons because, I was there from the very, very beginning, and it's historic, and it's got so much to it, and I've sold a lot there, and I love the building. But I think new buildings coming out, I think the Rally will be really incredible with Rosewood. I think the Shore Club is something really special. It's another Robert M. Stern building. And these are smaller, more exclusive buildings, which I like. Like, we've turned to doing very smaller and offering these hotel services and these hotel amenities attached to it. And, like you said, private clubs, some of those have, like, something private there for the owners. And I just think all of that is so sexy.
Me too.
The Rivage, which is going to be in Bell Harbor, I think is a really beautiful project. Yeah, I think that's a really stunning project. And from there, I don't really know. Oh, the Paragon, I think, is going to be beautiful. Location-wise, I don't think it's as attractive as some of the others, but it's one of the most beautiful buildings architecturally and very exclusive as well. So you're on the ocean. You have this really beautiful building. It's all good for Miami, right? Because it's changing, the way that people can live here. It's changing the service level, the level of kind of everything. So it's good for real estate. It's good for Miami.
I agree.
It elevates people's living experiences, which is nice. Yeah.
So with all of these services that St. Regis has, what does it work out for the maintenance on the price per square foot on the maintenance? How much is
We're $1.90 a foot, and that's based on the interior square footage. No, it's very fair.
Yeah,
it's very
relative.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is $4 a foot, so you can't really. I wouldn't. I can't imagine something like that. But I think another thing that's really interesting, because you're mentioning brands, we have the Bulgari coming, we have Fasano coming, we have all these incredible new hotels coming on the beach that are going to be within that same, so the beach itself is going to be so cool. There's a high-end, boutique hotel here. There's all these new luxury brands coming to Miami, so...
It's one thing about Miami is that the landscape is constantly changing.
Yeah.
It's changed so much, and it continues to change, and buildings get torn down and a new building is brought up, and it's constantly changing. I like it. I'm kind of used to, things always changing in Miami. But
it's fun to have
how
that,
it is
right?
in a city. When you're in a big city, things are always coming and going and moving, and it's a very vibrant, exciting city. And, it's fun to be in real estate.
I think that's the best part, because we can actually really follow it, because it's our job to follow it and to know what's going on and know what's coming up, not just for the residences but for ourselves. Like what hotels for their friends and what restaurants are coming up. I can't even keep up with all the restaurants.
I can't. Well, I know that we've already gone over. It's just I could talk to you for hours.
Awesome.
Okay, let me make sure that we've answered all the questions. Pretty much. I think that we covered everything. Yeah, we covered everything.
This was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for agreeing and coming and telling us all about the St. Regis. And I'll make sure to all the links to the St. Regis is going to be, in the description of the podcast. So if somebody is excited and they want to see about St. Regis, they could do a link to St. Regis. And then obviously, if you guys are interested, you could reach out to me. God knows I would love to sell a unit at the St. Regis all day long.
You should. Let's do it.
Absolutely, I should.
Yeah.
So, all right, my dear. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. So we're gonna wrap up Buying Miami today, and you could find us anywhere you look for podcasts. So Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, anywhere you look for podcasts, we're there. We're on YouTube. Yeah, if you want to see us visually, what do me and Anna look like, you could see it. And, I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up for today. So we'll stay tuned for our next episode.